Hi guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the anime Eromanga Sensei, and the title of the video is probably something like Eromanga Sensei is a masterpiece. Well, you kind of have to exaggerate and clickbait on YouTube to get views, so sorry about that. I actually do think Eromanga Sensei isn't a bad anime, and it's just a pretty decent and enjoyable anime, but like it's insanely overhated, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Yeah, but you just think Eromanga Sensei is one of those animes where it's like, there's just a bandwagon for it where people look at it and be like, oh,
Everyone else hates it, so I have to hate it too.
but before we actually get into the video, I want to give like a quick backstory on how I got into this anime and how this anime was actually my favorite anime at one point. Go back to, I think it was June or July of 2019, and around this time I actually wasn't into anime yet. I was a hardcore FPS gamer at the time. I would spend around 7 to 10 hours playing games every single day, and around this time I started playing a game called Osu, you know. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that got into Osu to use it as an aim trainer to improve my aim, but I ended up getting addicted to the game instead. To me, Osu was basically Kovacs, which was an aim trainer, but with music, and you know, music makes things more enjoyable. And around this time, I was a hardcore Naruto fan, so what I would do was I would download Naruto maps and just practice my aim by playing those. And as I got more and more into the game, I started downloading other maps, and I started downloading some farm maps, even though I didn't know what farming was at the time. Those farm maps is what actually got me into anime. I remember liking songs like Chika Dance and Hitori Goto a lot, and that made me watch those two animes. By the way, before I started watching those two animes, the only animes I have watched in the past are Naruto and Dragon Ball, so I didn't really know anything about anime at the time, and I watched Eromanga Sensei. I binge watched it in like 2 days, and I had post-anime depression after watching it. Eromanga Sensei was my favorite anime at one point, and I just really liked it a lot. But after I got like really into anime last year, I decided to rewatch it, and my thoughts on it have definitely changed. Actually, it didn't change too much. I just kind of figured out like the difference between an average anime, a good anime, and like a masterpiece. And you know, to me, it's just a pretty average and enjoyable anime now. Now I'm gonna start talking about like some reasonings on why people would hate it, and the most obvious one is definitely the incest. Yeah, let me just quickly explain the plot real quick. This is gonna take like 20 seconds. So Izumi Masamune is the main character for Eromanga Sensei, and he's actually a writer for manga. And the person that draws for his manga is an artist called Eromanga Sensei. And Eromanga Sensei ended up being his stepsister who hasn't talked to him in several years since the passing of the parents, and you know, they regreeted by doing that, and like they started building a relationship, and that's it. Yeah, to make it clear, Sagari is his stepsister, and what's the age difference between them? Mr. Startup actually. Masamune is 16 and Sagari is like 10, 12, and okay, makes sense. Yeah, basically any anime that includes incest gets hated on heavily. For example, Eromanga Sensei, or Emo, Kisses, and Yoshiko no Sora. Kind of funny because I actually enjoyed 3 of those animes, but all for different reasons though. To me, Kisses was one of those animes where it's like so bad it actually becomes enjoyable. And Eromanga Sensei, like I said before, it's just an average enjoyable anime. But I actually think Yoshiko no Sora is a pretty good anime. I started watching it for like 3-4 months ago, but I'm only halfway into it. But from what I've seen so far, it's a pretty like unique and different anime. But my problem with Eromanga Sensei is that the incest isn't even like that bad. Like how many incest scenes were there really? Because like from what I remember, there's only 1 or 2 scenes where they actually kind of touch, not like that, not like touch each other like that, but like you know, where they show like lewd scenes. From what I remember, there were only 2 scenes where I was like, what the fuck is this? And the first one was when Megumi first met Masamune, and she was like, oh yeah, every girl around this age likes Ochinchins, and I was like, what the fuck? And the other one is like when they play Twister with each other, I think. Yeah, those 2 were even incest scenes, so like, from what I remember, like, there doesn't need 1 or 2 scenes where there's like actual, you know, they actually showed some stuff to Sagari, all of that. In my opinion, there's so much more animes out there with like worse incest, and they're pretty well liked. Like, the most well-known one is probably No Game No Life. I mean, obviously the story doesn't revolve around incest or anything, but there is a good amount of incest in it. As someone who kind of found the anime as like, meh, I didn't dislike anything, I just didn't, like, it didn't live up to its expectation for me. Yeah, I already wasn't really enjoying the anime too much, and the incest kind of made it worse for me. But one of my favorite animes also includes like a decent amount of incest, and it's the Monogatari series. You know, it has the infamous toothbrush scene, and there were like some other scenes where Sukihi were like she was stripped naked once, I think. But honestly, didn't mind any of that. This might sound bad, but like when you watch enough anime, you kind of just start ignoring some like things that should be considered like messed up, but you kind of realize that it's anime and you shouldn't really compare to real life. Things like incest, pedophilia, and rape. Obviously, like if any of those 3 happen in real life, that wouldn't be good. That would be really bad. But this is anime. Like I'm not saying us we're gonna like be like, oh, let's watch some pedophilia and incest today. I'm saying like if we're trying to watch an anime and there's incest in it, we're not gonna turn off the anime just because there's incest in it. I kind of get why people think this way, because if someone has only watched Naruto and My Hero Academia and they watch something with incest in it, they'll probably be really uncomfortable. Again, that's not me like promoting any of these three things, but this is anime. You guys have to realize that. Like, you have to separate that from the real world. Like, obviously there's gonna be moments where you feel like relatable to characters and all of that, but don't compare everything from real life to anime. So I'm editing the video and I kind of realized that I didn't even talk about the anime itself, so let me just talk about that real quick. Like, my problem with people giving it like a 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 is that there's so many different aspects of an anime that's actually pretty decent, and there's actually some aspects that I liked a lot. Like, animation, it was an anime by A1, which means it could be like a hit or a miss, and I personally think they did like a pretty decent job with it. Besides that one shot of Sagari's legs in the opening, like, what the fuck was that? And the plot of the anime, I mean, it wasn't like shit, I would say. Like, you can there's a chance of you getting intrigued in the story and you might enjoy it a lot. And the plot wasn't anything outstanding, but it was decent. It was like enjoyable. One thing I do have to give to Eromanga Sensei is that the pacing itself like actually wasn't bad. That's one problem I have with a lot of anime, because like sometimes pacing feels off, and in this anime like there wasn't anything wrong with it, to be honest. Characters, if you've watched anime in the past and you watch Eromanga Sensei, you're gonna know all of the character tropes in it, and that should be expected when you watch anime. You're bound to run into something with like generic characters, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just a fact. And lastly, let's talk about the music, because I actually liked the music from this anime. The opening, Hattorigoto, ending, Adrenaline, and like there's so many different soundtracks. I mean, that's enjoyable for me too. And there's so many soundtracks that actually fits the situations perfectly. So soundtrack is definitely like above average for me. But there really isn't anything that's like outstandingly bad about this anime. Like, everything is actually pretty decent, and the music is actually outstanding to me. So yeah, like I gave it a 6 out of 10, I think. Now we're gonna go back to the video. Next reasoning is that it's just like, like I said before, it's a bandwagon thing. I'm just gonna assume that most anime fans are on the younger side, at least in the West, and it's really easy to influence young people, you know? Like, if a 14-year-old sees a group of people being like, oh, like, yeah, this is bad, you know, you shouldn't like it, then they'll probably be like, okay, I'll listen to you guys. I'm not gonna like it. The thing is, they head into the animation with like such bad expectations, they can't even like acknowledge what they see, if that makes sense. Not saying anything about Eromanga Sensei is insanely good, but like all they can think about is like, this anime is bad, oh, I can't like anything in it at all, like, oh, everything that's happening is really bad, you know? They're kind of being they're just being delusional. I've never done that in my life with an anime. Like, I've done that with good anime where I'm like, okay, everyone hypes it up, and like I'm hoping that's gonna be really good. Like, I personally actually like watching anime with bad ratings, because like I feel like sometimes they're just misunderstood. For example, Happy Sugar Life. Happy Sugar Life is rated at like a 6.7, something like that. It's lower than a 7, but I personally give it 8 out of 10. Like, Happy Sugar Life, I personally think that's a really good anime, and to me, that's like, Happy Sugar Life is Miraniki if it turned out to be a good anime. Like, the way I personally recommend to watch anime is just to ignore what other people think about it, you know? Because that kind of influences how you think about anime. Like, you might not even realize it, but that does. Like, I remember when I first started watching anime, I was like, okay, yeah, I thought this anime was pretty bad, but like everyone's saying it's good. You know? Like, is it my problem? Like, is it me? Like, is it me that I don't understand anime? All of that. But it just comes down to preferences. You know, you can like things that other people dislike. Other people can like things that you dislike. You know, it just works like that. Not everyone's gonna agree with each other. Like, I personally really like looking for underrated animes that like that either have a lower rating or just like isn't well known. Like, Eromanga Sensei is at the point where it's basically just a meme now. People don't actually take it seriously. People don't watch it. Like, even if they do watch it, they probably just don't like hate on it. So it's really just like not a bad anime. Not saying it's anything great. Not saying it's anything outstanding. But like, it's just a pretty regular, decent anime. But yeah, if you haven't watched Eromanga Sensei, I actually like recommend giving it a watch. If you do end up watching it, just ignore what other people say about it. You can do that for every anime, actually. Yeah, like I said before, just because other people dislike the anime a lot, that doesn't mean you have to dislike it. Just because everyone likes the anime a lot doesn't mean it's gonna be enjoyable for you. You know, it just works like that. Everyone has preferences. Like, after rewatching it 2-3 times, it's just a decent watch. There's nothing really wrong with it besides like, you know, the slight incest in it, but it's just instantly overhated. If I had a list of overhated animes, Eromanga Sensei is at least top 3 on it. Yeah, that should be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, you know, leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe, all of that. You don't have to do it, but if you would like to, that would help me a lot. Yeah, most of the time I just make content about anime and manga, sometimes J-pop, but I like looking for underrated things, more things like that. So, you know, if you like a known manga or known anime, feel free to subscribe to me. But don't expect me to talk about like My Hero Academia though. That should be it for this video. Peace.